Hey guys, it's Will.
And I'm Mike. Sorry. I was spaced out thinking about something.
Food?
Something naughty.
Oh God.
Well, it has to do with this movie.
So, First Watch is the show that you're watching. It's the show that's part review, part reaction. Today we were talking about Hard Ticket to Hawaii. Andy Sidaris wrote and directed this film. If you're familiar with him, you will know what to expect. If you aren't, you were really in for a treat when you watch his movies for the first time. This was released in 1987 originally. This is the Mill Creek Blu-ray release, which came out in 2019. So it's fresh off the press. And there was something about this movie. We can get into more detail in a minute, but just my kind of like overview of this movie was several times when watching this movie, I shot my hands up in the air. It was just like, yes! For instance, when the diseased snake shot out of the toilet and the guy shot it with a rocket launcher.
Well, the girl did. She did. She shot it with a rocket launcher.
He did.
I thought she
Jim
did.
just watched it. Jim, who shot the snake with the rocket launcher?
It was a dude.
That was a dude.
She was there, though.
She was there, yeah. She was in the
being
room.
naked doing
well,
nothing.
because she
shot it in the head multiple times with a gun.
Oh, and it didn't die.
Bounced off.
No!
They shot a lot of stuff with the rocket launcher in this movie. The snake.
The blow-up doll?
The blow-up doll, for some reason. A guy they hit it with their car on a skateboard. He goes flying in the air.
But he had the blow-up doll.
He had it.
With him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they hit him, and then
he was riding his skateboard on his hands. It's really hard to describe what this movie is about because I'm still not totally sure. It takes place in Hawaii. There are these women who wear like if you made a porn parody of Jurassic Park, like
they'd wear that.
They would be wearing those kind of costumes that these women are wearing, but they work for some kind of government agency.
Yeah, and
they have a little airplane, and at some point they're transporting a diseased snake that they don't know is diseased because they take it accidentally. And then there's some tourists who they fly to like a remote beach.
They find some drugs on the beach. Or something?
There are drug dealers. There's a murderer who plays frisbee with
the frisbee scene.
There's a really famous frisbee scene in this movie. What else? It's just insane. There's like a whole weird subplot where there's like a sports event. Do you remember this? And there's like a press conference. Are they football players, Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah. So which ties into
They're in Hawaii for the Pro Bowl, I think.
Right, yeah. And so they're at this restaurant that's like a central set piece for this movie. There's a scene in a restaurant where one of the guys who's like a total creep is trying to get the woman to ride his face, and she's like, "Will you ride my face?" And he's like, he says, "Are you gonna sit on my face?" And she goes, "Why is your nose bigger than your dick?" So that's the kind of movie this is.
Amazing, you mean?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. There's like a scene where the two women who work for the government agency are doing like clandestine espionage, and they're like with bikinis and video cameras, just like taping people.
Like 10 feet away. And then there's a scene where the guy's trying to infiltrate this group of people, and it's a frisbee scene. And every morning, this guy plays frisbee with like a local woman, and so the guy goes there and he tells the woman to go away, and he grabs the frisbee, but he replaces it with one of his own, and it's a frisbee lined with a bunch of razor blades.
Spoiler alert!
And he throws it at the guy, and it cuts his fingers off and gets lodged in his neck.
It's basically like if you've seen Odd Job in the Goldfinger, the Sean Connery James Bond movie, the guy who chucks his hat at people. It's like that, except it's a plastic frisbee lined with razor blades.
It's a great weapon.
What else even happens in this movie? It's just complete insanity.
There's like the people trying to get the drugs back, I think.
Right, there's like a drug lord.
Yeah.
Who's always yelling at his henchmen because they keep doing really stupid shit.
Because they can't track down these two women.
And there's a guy in it who's like a government agent who I think is sleeping with either one or both of the women, and the women they have a hot tub in their house, is that right? And they get naked in the hot tub together, as one does when one is a government agent.
They get naked in the hot tub because it helps Donna think. Clears her head.
Yeah, that's how you think.
He knows her name.
He knows the name. We say hot woman 1, hot woman 2. Jim's like, oh, it's this woman, Donna.
It's Donna and Taryn.
We've taken it. So, in case you didn't know, we usually don't have anyone behind the camera. So we're a step up today. We have an actual camera operator.
Production values.
Director, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, producer, director, camera operator.
Man, like these films, like you just have to turn your head off. And just enjoy it. Have a couple beers and have some fun.
The fact that someone made a career out of writing and directing these movies, this guy probably had more fun than any of us will ever have.
Yeah. Can you imagine, you wake up and they're like, all right, what are we shooting today? Snake coming out of the bathroom, shooting with a rocket launcher, getting naked.
And there are scenes where the rocket launcher, you can see it like drooping. Like it's obviously made out of like rubber or something like that.
There's a helicopter scene in this movie.
There is a helicopter.
There's a plane too, because they fly. Because I think they actually
There's some
shot in
actually
Hawaii.
really beautiful.
I think they actually shot it there. Yeah.
But so one of the things we were talking about before we were filming this was the sound in this movie. Like this movie feels like a student movie. Like it feels like it was made by people who didn't really know what they're doing, which is not true because the guy who made this movie had made other movies before this and also had been working in the television film
sound was
industry
bad.
for decades.
I feel like they did production sound on set outside, and that was it. They didn't
the
re-record
sound
any
is like
of it.
awful.
Just threw it in.
Yeah, so right away you can tell that it's like basically like a no budget movie.
But he probably is like, people aren't gonna really care about the sound when these women are running around naked and there's shit exploding everywhere. Like,
not
who
literally
cares?
shit. Well, maybe there is shit exploding in the toilet.
In the
scene.
toilet, she took
Yeah.
a big dump right before that snake came out.
Oh, she
So I don't know. I think she did.
Was it Donna, Jim, or was it Taryn?
It was Donna, I think, and it was in my movie. She takes a big dump. So I don't know what you guys were watching.
In my
That's
movie.
all it is.
In my movie, in my head, that's what happens. Because
I thought she was-
what else attracts the snake?
Alright, it was Donna.
What else
It's
attracts
Donna.
the snake?
But this conversation is exactly what this movie is like,
the
right?
snake has nothing to do with the movie.
None.
There's just
Nothing.
like they have a diseased snake. It's mutated or something, and it says on the fucking crate that the snake is in that it's like a mutated animal or
Yeah.
something. And instead of like, what would you like if you were like, someone who had a mutated poisonous
Giant python.
You would probably murder it, right? You would put it down, and
Yeah.
instead, and then they don't know what to do about the snake. So instead of calling, who do they call, Jim?
The Department of Health.
Yeah, so instead of calling animal control or like the local university with the zoology department, they call
call
the
it-
Department of Health. Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't have to make any sense.
That's why it's so good because it's so
so good.
blatant. It's not like a movie that's trying to be good and has all these gaps in logic.
Yeah.
It's like this movie exists in its own preposterous universe in which all this stuff makes complete sense.
Makes sense to me.
It's called Hard Ticket to Hawaii.
Check it out, guys.
And
It's
again,
so
this
fun.
Blu-ray is, I think it's $11 or $12, $10 to $12, so it's dirt cheap.
Some nice special
And-
features as well.
You'll know
Yeah.
what that means when you see them. But yeah, I mean, this is, and again, as we said with Malibu Express, like this, I'm definitely gonna watch this movie
Oh, yeah.
again. Like every time someone comes to visit me, who's like a good friend of mine who I don't see that often, I'm like, we have to watch this fucking
We'll do
movie.
like a whole like Andy Sidar's BBB marathon.
They're putting out, well, so they were, if we didn't say in this video, I know we already did the Malibu Express episode of First Watch, but they called these movies BBB, which I think was Bullets, Babes, Bombs, but it may have been Boobs, and
Something like
there are a
that.
couple different ways to break it down. But so Mill Creek, who put out this and Malibu Express, is putting out 2 more of his movies from this same era in the summer of 2019.
And we'll definitely check those out.
Yeah, those will be coming out soon.
So.
But this movie is just like, it's just amazing.
Yep.
Like in the best and worst possible way at the same time.
Agreed.